Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Admin Chat. We're absolutely delighted this evening to welcome Daniel Skermer. Daniel is the founder of the Birmingham PA Network, a network that won awards this year for its work within the Birmingham area. And we wanted to just catch up with him and find out a little bit about what makes an amazing network and to find out a bit about the guy behind setting up this amazing network. So welcome, Dan. Great to see you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful. I think it could safely be said that you are all about people. I mean, right from the very beginning, reading your bio, you started off working for a taxi firm, and then your life changed absolutely, totally, I believe, when you went on holiday to Marmaris.
Yeah, it was, I was 17, went on holiday to Marmaris for the first time ever abroad, and I had the most amazing 2 weeks of my life, and I decided not to come home. I was on holiday with my best friend, and I just thought I need to just take the bull by the horns here. There's such a big world out there, and I want to be part of it. So I just decided not to come home. I asked for my luggage to be offloaded on the plane, and I spent an interesting evening around, Marmaris area, trying to find somewhere to sleep, and trying to find somewhere to work for the summer. But alas, there was nothing available. It was the middle of July. It was really busy. And I kind of fell onto an entertainment company who were really, really kind enough to take me in. Initially, I was cooking, cleaning, I was looking after their children. We became very good friends, and they had a very successful entertainment company out there. And I was caught dancing in the kitchen one day on some headphones, and she decided to put me in the dance troupe there, which was great.
How amazing. So you've been in the public eye and performing and entertaining since you were 17.
Yeah, for 3 years. Absolutely loved it. We used to do numerous different shows. We used to do comedy entertainment or musicals. We used to travel, do 3 shows a night, 3 one-hour shows, moving to the next hotel, getting all the costumes out of the car, putting them back on, going back on stage. Absolutely had the time of my life. But unfortunately, the company collapsed, and so I had to find alternatives, really, which was such a shame because it was my dream job at the time.
How wonderful that you went on, though, to go and work for Thomas Cook. And there you were doing what?
So I did my first season in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Absolutely incredible. We launched an 1830s programme. Unfortunately, it wasn't, I don't think it was the right place necessarily for Club 1830. We tried. We had some very interesting tales, some interesting guests, but unfortunately, it didn't succeed. So I went on to one of the biggest hotels in Sharm el-Sheikh at the time, where I was having one day in particular in August, I had 600 guests arrive. I had to look after them, make sure all the welcome meetings were done, all the customer complaints were dealt with, etc. And it was a really intense season. But then they decided to send me to Gran Canaria for my first winter, where they decided then they'll put me on the other end of the spectrum to become a prime-time rep for the over 65. So we did bridge, ballroom dancing sessions, we did Scrabble tournaments. We took them on tours around Gran Canaria with all the blanket trips and things, all the markets. And so it was complete opposite end of the spectrum, but I absolutely loved that as well.
Well, what a baptism of fire to be looking after 2 such very different groups of people. What do you think the main differences were, Dan?
I think for me, one thing we were taught when we work for Thomas Cook is that one of the most special things for people is their time away on holiday. You know, we all work so hard. People save for years for that. And you know, we are there to make sure that everything goes as best as it can go. And they really walk away with the best holiday experience they've ever had. From the moment they book in the travel agents, to when they turn up at the airport, to when they come to resort, to, you know, when they go home. And we were always very much targeted on customer service scores. So those questionnaires that we used to give people on the plane, and people used to think, oh, I can't be bothered to fill that in. You know, I want a gin and tonic instead, which is great. We all love gin and tonic. But those scores were so vital to us getting placed next year and the year after and the year after. I was really lucky. My first year for Thomas Cook, I was the highest scoring customer service rep, well, the second highest scoring customer service rep in the world. And that for me at that age was something that was really, it just blew me away. And for me, service is everything. And I think whether you're 18 or whether you're 90 or, you know, anywhere in the middle or wherever, you should receive, you know, that real passionate, personalised service for each customer that walks through that door.
And that is absolutely clear in everything that you do. And, you know, I mean, it must have also been quite difficult. I know you did 7 countries over your time with Thomas Cook, didn't you? So all those different cultures, all those different kinds of people, all the different ages, very, very intense, I would have thought, as a baptism of fire into how to deal with all sorts of different kinds of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they used to send us to resort 2 weeks before the customers arrived, and we would have to we'd have to do all the excursions. We'd have to be familiarised with the culture. We needed to know our directions and where everything was in resort. You know, from the shopping centres to the churches, to when the church services were on, to when the best bar nights were on, where's the best restaurant. And you've got 2 weeks of intense training to learn where everything is. And you know, I did a lot of years in Egypt, Tunisia, and Turkey, but then I did a lot in Spain, Portugal, Cyprus, and so if you go from Turkey to Cyprus, the culture is very, very different. Even, you know, driving on the other side of the road, you've got to learn to drive in those countries and all the directions. There wasn't any sat navs then, really, so it made it quite difficult to get around. But you know, you've got to know the public transport service prices for literally everything. So it's a lot of information to take in, but you know, we really did enjoy every minute of it. It was hard work, but I would not change a thing, definitely.
And you were obviously amazing at it. And that is reflected in the fact that you came second in the world. But they obviously decided then that because you were so great at it and you'd made it to senior management, that they were going to take that expertise and get you to train it to other people. So you ended up with 600 people that you were training, huh?
Well, so we went in my last year. We went back to the head office was in Peterborough, and I was part of the recruitment team. So we used to put together a recruitment program because we used to have to get 600 new reps for the next season, because it was one of the highest turnovers of staff. You know, some people wanted to have one experience, and then, you know, that was enough for them. Or you had your, you know, your veterans of the holiday industry that were always there. So we started off our recruitment drives in Scotland, and we would come all the way down south. And we would do assessment days for nearly 200 people in the morning, 200 people in the afternoon. They were very rigorous assessment days with customer service scenarios, and you know, they'd have to talk about their favourite holiday destination in the world and really sell it to us. And it was great. We, you know, once those people were taken on, we then flew them on a 6-week program, 100 at a time, to Mallorca. And we used to put them into Magaluf, and we did that quite on purpose, because it was a great area for them to be in, to make sure that they could get the right work-life balance. So we say, and so we did training courses over a week where we would, you know, tell them all about the ethos of Thomas Cook, where, what our brand standards are, our mission statements, and why our customers are so important to us. And then at the end, it was a bit like the X Factor, where they walk into a room and then we would tell them where they would be working for the rest of the summer. And then the planes would be waiting at the airport and off they go. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic to be part of that. There was a big team, and to be able to be part of that was great.
How much fun to be in a position to be able to say, and you're going there, and you're going there. Really
there is
wonderful.
sometimes a little bit of difference though, because sometimes somebody might get Mexico, and then somebody gets somewhere potentially in Europe that they might not be, they might have thought, I want to go to Mexico. Then you get the other side of the spectrum as well, for example.
So obviously customer service, you trained it for a long time and you were very good at it yourself. What do you think? I mean, people is obviously at the heart of customer service, but for you, what else is it that you really feel is most important?
I just think that, we in the service industry, we're here to help and support people as much as we possibly can. And I just think that it's a shame. I think you see areas now, in particular, how busy life is, that service does slip sometimes quite a lot. I think, there's loads more communication channels now where people are more vocal about their experiences. But I think the emphasis is put on the fact that, particularly here where I work at Resorts World, we want the customers at the heart of everything we do. We want the customer journey to be amazing, and we really want them to be able to come back for more. And I think service is something that you always remember. Someone always said to me once, if service is bad, you've got to do 7 times things more to be able to, create that positivity again or that belief in something. And also with service comes sales as well, because I'm a strong believer that if you really, really pleased with the service that you've had, you'd leave a tip at the end of your meal if you were happy with the service. And I think, and a recommendation is almost as good as, is amazing. So people can pass that on, and, word of mouth is so strong nowadays. Personal recommendation is everything. So service has to be absolutely the heart of everything that we do.
I agree with you totally. And it shows very much with the network that you have launched. I mean, I came to your conference last year, and the attention to detail was just extraordinary. I have to say, I travel all over the world, but there were very few conferences that I have spoken at in the last year that had that level of attention to detail and customer service.
We were really, really pleased to be able to be supported, in particular with yourself, Lucy. We know you're so busy and you've got such a big program around the world. And I think, with the support of Andrew and I am, was fantastic to be endorsed by them. I don't think we ever anticipated we'd have such a want and need in Birmingham. And I think it really has highlighted that is something that's really, really important. And I think, what I would say is that we do talk to our members a lot. We listen to what they want. We really try to put in action, all of the points that points that they come back on the feedback to us to say, we really love this at an event. We'd love to hear about this. And I think being able to piece that all together and put it together in one day is just, to have the support of the people, of their executives to come out of the office for the day and be able to learn and be able to share, be able to, network is just fantastic.
Well, this is wonderful, but let's go backwards for a minute. Why did you decide to start it in the first place? How did it all come about?
So I'd just come back from working overseas, and it was hard. I didn't really have any experience. A lot of, in terms of in the UK, people, if I was going for jobs, especially in the hospitality industry, and they said you're either too experienced or you don't have the contacts that we're looking for. And so there was a hotel that really took a chance on me, which I was really grateful for. It's a new hotel that was built in Birmingham. And my boss, she was so supportive, she said, look, the only way you're going to get to know companies just to get out there and start talking to them. And I thought, wow, absolutely. I used to, sit on the edge of your sun lounger when you were on holiday, so I could just walk into an office and hopefully be able to talk to somebody. So I did, I was going around with my goodie bags, walking into, big corporate companies, SMEs, and around the city centre, such as, PwC, for example. The first point of call would always be the front of house person, who was always so helpful, and say, I'm looking to speak to somebody about, who would I, if they wanted to organise events or conferences, etc. And they would always say, oh, we'll get one of the PAs to come and talk to you. So they came downstairs. I met a lovely lady called Jackie there, and she was talking to me. And just as we're talking now, she just said, I said, do you attend any events in Birmingham? And she said, there hasn't really been anything here since 2014. This was 2016. So the message was very similar, from Pinsent Masons to Squire Patton Boggs to all these different companies. And so I decided to invite all 15 ladies that I'd spoken to in to come and join me at the hotel. And we had a chat, and I just said, I've Googled PA events in Birmingham. There hasn't really been anything here since 2014. We looked at other areas like London and Manchester, who've just got this booming network. And, we just said, why hasn't Birmingham got anything? And I think, we made a bit of a joke. We had a couple of glasses of Prosecco, and we said, well, why don't we start something? And the next day I emailed them all and I said, no, seriously, shall we start something? And I said, if we could start something, what would you call it? And they said, well, why don't we call it the Birmingham PA Forum? And that's how it started. So, for myself, I have never been an assistant. And I wouldn't pretend to know, in the day-to-day role, what skills are necessary. At the time, I would say I wasn't a person that would sit there and say, these are the skills that are needed, and this is the learning that's available, because I had no idea at all. But these 15 ladies, who are just incredibly fantastic women, they are like a fountain of knowledge to me. So they feed the knowledge into me, and then I go and make it happen, basically, and try to coordinate everything, talk to speakers and try to put everything together. And I think they are, the life, the life and blood of the forum, really. And from then, it just word spread, and it just spread very, very quickly, which really did indicate to us there was such a need for it in Birmingham.
Well, really, because I know that your very first event, you only had 45 people, and now you have over 600 members. That's extraordinary.
Yeah, we did. Our first event was all about a LinkedIn profile. It was all about building your personal brand, but also your company's brand. And also, if there was a time where you were going to be looking for another position, that you were positioning yourself in the right way, and that, there was lots of help and support out there for you when you're looking for somewhere, to move on to the next thing as well. And, everybody really enjoyed the event. And then they spread the word, and then all of a sudden I had lots of emails from new people that I'd never met before saying, we'd love to know about the next one. And we had the next one, we had a fantastic speaker, Jane Weaver, who was talking about when she was a PA for a logistics company, walking into a porter cabin in very male-dominated environment, and they couldn't understand why they had to now go to her and not directly to the CEO. And she actually ended up buying that company and turning it into a multi-million-pound business. So we had some really inspirational speakers, and then the word spread again, and it just built and built and built very, very quickly. And I think that's why it's been so important to me that my full-time job, wherever I am, really supports all the work that we do for the region, because it's so important to keep it going.
Yes, and now you've launched Coventry and Warwick as well.
Yeah, so we had a lot of feedback from our members that they were working in Birmingham but living in Coventry or living in Warwick. And I have some experience working over there as well in the past. And I thought to myself, when you finish work at the end of the day and you're coming to somewhere, you come into an event or in the middle of the day, it's not always accessible. So why don't we take it to them? And I thought, what if they come to an event and they've got to travel all the way back to Coventry and Warwickshire because it's in Birmingham? Why don't we do that for them in Coventry and Warwickshire as well? And we've had 80 people at the first event, then we had 100 at the second event, and it just shows again over there that there's a real build for it and that people really want it there as well.
Yes, and then you've gone on to win the Manchester PA award for the best external network. So you're obviously doing something right. That must have been an amazing night.
I can't even tell you what that meant to us. It was a very emotional night. I don't think we just never expected to win. I mean, there are some amazing networks and people that we know very well. Leslie from the East Midlands PA network, who worked really well with her. There was Jersey, there was Essex, there was lots of different networks. And we never even been to the Manchester PA Awards. And when we went, we were just in awe of the night itself. It was absolutely fantastic. And it got to when we were actually announced, I wasn't really paying attention because I'm not paying attention, but I thought, I was started clapping as if to say someone else has won. And then they were like, no, it's the Birmingham PA Forum. I was like, oh my God. And it was just, I think they said that we were recognised, I think, because of most of the stuff that we've done with launching the awards here in Birmingham. That Manchester has said, and London, they have some really great award ceremonies recognising support positions across various different spectrums, but there just again wasn't anything here in Birmingham. And I think that they were really pleased that we identified that and that we've started that journey now here. So it's been phenomenal, and those networks are just incredible, and we working together we'll just be able to share. We do it with ourselves, we do it with our members, but we share across the networks as well, sharing ideas, who we've had speaking in the past and who is this would be great for that event, or picking up the phone and talking to each other. I think that's just so important.
Definitely, because especially in this profession, it's a very weird one, isn't it? Because usually you find that where you have groups of people in a company who have the same job, that they actually are in a department. But that isn't the way with PAs. They're spread right the way across a business. Therefore, if they're not networking, it causes a problem because they're not sharing best practice. And to have an external network like yours is just phenomenal. I think it would be really good if you could share, Dan, any words of wisdom you have for anybody out there who is thinking about the possibility of setting up a network. Maybe, if there are any stumbling blocks that you came across, or lessons that you've learned as you've gone forward, or words of encouragement you could give them, because it is a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's really important. I did a network marketing course, and it was one of the best things. I honestly do believe to this day this is kind of how this started, because it was all about building around you a circle of trust. And I think a circle of trust is so important. And it's those people that, no matter what happens at what time of day, or, they are the people that you will be able to lean on and support, and they will be able to do that for you. And that circle of trust for me is the committee. And they are, fantastic to try. I think I would not be able to do this on my own at all. I think it's a mammoth task, because there's such a want and need for it. And I love every minute of it, but they are literally the pillars of the forum. And I also think, relationship building is and service is everything, because, any supplier that you ever speak to, you might need to reach out to them one day, and any person that you come across that has any learning that they want to kind of share. And I'm always a firm believer in as well, when you're talking to people, you never know what their path was. You never know where they've come from. So never look at anybody. Always listen, and always listen to what people say. Listen to what they do. Listen to those things that you think, actually, that could work, or that could be really good. I know somebody's asked me for something like that before. And listen to those, those key indicators. But I think, you know, communication is everything, speaking to people as much as you can. And I think feedback is vital. You know, you make decisions in doing things, but if you don't know what people want, how can you make decisions? So I think that's really important. You've got to keep the engagement levels there as much as possible.
Very definitely. And so now you're back in Birmingham at the beginning of October with your Learning and Development Conference. So you've kind of come full circle from your Thomas Cook days doing this Learning and Development for assistants. Tell us what we can expect. I have to say, I'm really, really honoured you asked me to come and do the emceeing this year. But other than that, what can we expect? What surprises have you got coming up?
Yeah, no, honestly, we're so excited that you're going to host this for us as well, and that we can work together with you on this again. This is fantastic. So we've got a dinner with you the night before. So we've got a Ask Lucy Anything dinner. I mean, it's great, which is going to be really good. You know, open forum tables, people asking questions, and it's going to be really, really nice way, you know, to put any burning questions, for example, to you, which would be fantastic. I'm sure everybody will want to, you know, be able to be a part of that. And then on the day itself, the next day, on the 2nd of October at Aston University, we've got two fantastic keynote speakers. So we've got Angela Mortimer from the Angela Mortimer Group. She's going to be talking about how she went on her journey to, you know, recruit executive support across the globe in 7 different countries and as well. We've got Penny Power, OBE, who was the first person to set up the, she set up a communication tool before LinkedIn. And she's going to be talking about her journey and some of the fantastic things that she does to support women in business. We've got a great panel discussion where Lucy will be hosting the panel discussion, and we've got 3 executives and their PAs who are coming to talk about change is inevitable and their examples of change within business and how their relationships have lasted the strength, well, the time of change. And then we've got some fantastic seminars in the afternoon. Lucy will be doing a public speaking one. We've got Andrew from the Institute of Administrative Management who will be doing one about conflict management in the workplace. We've got a networking seminar. We've also got Pitman Training supporting us with a speed writing course, and we've also got Elizabeth Coloco Green, which has become highly recommended and is flying over from Belgium to do Microsoft Office tips. So we're really excited about that. Got some great suppliers supporting us on the day again, so we really hope that, you know, we'll get some support for that event as well.
It was amazing last year. I mean, you had 150 people there. There are international conferences that don't get that number of people. Really great, Daniel.
Oh, thank you. And we're so glad that we can share it with you, Lucy. So thank you so much.
So talk to me about your awards then, because you've just had your awards, haven't you? Why did you decide to go down an awards route alongside the learning and development and the network?
I think for me, for years and years, we used to have the Proud Awards at Thomas Cook, and everybody really wanted to win one at the end of the season. And it was, you always needed to be put forward for them. And when I got back to the UK, there was many industry awards for hospitality, where, you know, there were times when you'd receive an email and you'd send it to your boss, and you'd think, I hope they put me forward potentially, or it would be nice if they kind of see this, or I've worked really hard this year, I'd love them to put me forward. And then you don't hear anything, and it's a bit disappointing sometimes. Because I think even for somebody to nominate somebody else, it's just such a massive thing. It's just automatically a recognition piece. And I think, you know, for us, there wasn't anything like that here in Birmingham. So we, at first, when we launched the awards, we didn't have we didn't have anyone apply in the first 6 weeks. And somebody posted something quite negative within our Facebook group, which was quite derogatory about assistants and the role itself. it was talking about, I don't understand why there's an awards ceremony for people that order stationery and book appointments in other people's diaries, which was absolutely horrendous.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we shared that everywhere, absolutely everywhere we could share it. And we received an absolutely massive response in the first year. And I think that really did get the juices going then. I think people thought, no, hang on a minute. This isn't awards for us. This isn't awards for our directors and our company senior management team to be able to go up there and collect the award on behalf of the organisation. This is actually specifically for us. And I think that's what's so important. So, we put together a collection of different categories that hopefully will, suit various different levels across all different types of organisations. And we've had 350 people come and support us. And then this year we had 33 finalists. The night is just a big party. It's an absolutely massive celebration. It's non-stop entertainment from start to finish. The awards are there. We had it videoed. We've had all, blogs and interviews with all of the winners. The finalists have just enjoyed a wrap-up party that we've just done for all of them. And it's brought them into an area where they might not come along to the forum events because they might not be something that they might be looking for, but that recognition piece and that network of finding people that have shared that journey with you is just so important. And the amount of emails I've had now, people have got meetings in the diary with other people, and we've had companies that have two PAs have introduced their executives to each other and now are utilising each of the services. And that's come from a result of them networking, which their executives have probably thought, well, why would they go out necessarily networking? Because I need you here, I need you to support me. I haven't got time for you to go out. But actually by going out there and doing that and representing, they're really, really bringing back fantastic things to share in the office environment.
And so much networking is done between the assistants. I saw a post quite recently that really made me laugh, actually, on one of the Facebook groups, from a guy who was saying his boss was on the phone all morning getting increasingly frustrated. And in the end, he went in and said, "What are you trying to do?" And he said, "Oh, I'm trying to get a meeting with such and such a person. It's impossible." And this guy commented on the Facebook group and said, "When will he learn that if he'd just given it to me, I know the PA, I could have got him a meeting like that."
Yeah, exactly. And I think for us, we hope that we can build year after year after year, but we've decided this year in particular that we are still getting, I'm just doing my job, and I don't see why I should enter. But when you're going above and beyond in your job, you think that is your job, and I think it's really easy to not think actually what is expected of me. What do I actually do that is really above and beyond? And I think self-praise or we don't like to write positive things about ourselves really. And I think we're going to take a roadshow out there this year. So when the applications open in October, we will be doing a roadshow across Birmingham, Coventry and Warwickshire and the Black Country, where we'll be talking about, we'll be asking some of our winners to come, some of the past judges, the committee members. And if you want to hear about all the different awards and the categories that we've got available this year and what the journey was like for them, and hopefully it will give the people a little bit more of a push to think, actually, no, I really want to enter this and I really want to win.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And another thing that they're not good at is going and asking for training. And at the time of recording, we're just about to launch a campaign which is called Ask for Training, which over a 2-week period is going to encourage the assistants to go and ask their executives for training budget so that they can attend things that are going to make them stronger and faster and better at their jobs. So actually, they shouldn't feel in the least, I don't think, that it's a problem to go and ask for the money. But I know you're absolutely passionate about qualifications and certifications for assistants, and you really feel that there needs to be more of that here. Can you explain why, Dan?
Yeah, I think from our feedback, so we sent out a feedback survey to our members, and one thing that we always get asked asked for is what qualifications and what training courses are available to us, and those that are available, which one do we choose, and is it the right level for the level that I'm at? So, for example, we've had events before, or we've had training providers before where you might be more experienced PA, where part of the training that you've done is, is your everyday thing that and they might not think it's challenging enough. But then you might have an advanced course, which is really advanced, and it's not meeting the needs of the ones that are the junior levels that are going to go through the ranks. I think, our committee, education committee in particular, say, we would love to work with a training provider that would be able to offer this a qualification that is recognised, where when they go to an interview and they walk into that room, that person that's interviewing them knows what that qualification is, and that it's quite standardised. And I know there's loads of different qualifications out there, but I think the feedback from our committee in particular, and this isn't my feedback, it's the committee from, executive and personal assistants that I am really close to them myself, is that, they are unsure which ones to choose. And I think it's that, there are, I think with the ACEA in America, in the US, that has a widely recognised qualification there, which I know, support with yourself. But here in Birmingham, I think there's just so much choice,
and so much noise. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and I think that's where this has come from, where we don't actually really know who to affiliate ourselves with, because where is it recognised and when is it recognised and who recognises it? And I think, and which training would be covered by the company? Are they expected to pay for it themselves? Whether the training stands at whether the company will pay for them to do it, or we're still finding that people are paying for it themselves because they want to be able to progress themselves. So that's where the confusion lies with us. And I think that's why these conferences for us are so important, because this is where we're able to gather feedback from our members and be able to talk to them and say, what are we looking for as a forum in this area, in this region? What do we want? And I think that's what the general consensus is for us that's come from this in particular.
Wonderful. So, Dan, I just want to finish by asking you where you see this going, because it's been a really steep learning curve, but a kind of meteoric rise of the Birmingham PA Forum. And I can see great things ahead, but do you have plans that you want to share with us?
I think we are hoping to launch another area within the region, within our region. I think it's really important to focus then on those areas. And people said to me before, we're going to come to Sunderland and do PA forum, or here and do a PA forum, and and I think the regional networks are amazing for every area. And I think you can lose sight very quickly if you do too much. And I think you just need to get the engagement levels there, make sure that you do enough events that are fruitful for people to, fruitful enough for them to be able to learn something from. And then hopefully, if we launch that other area covering the entire West Midlands, then we will be able to, we are launching, it will be called the West Midlands PA Awards next year. So we're rebranding the Birmingham PA Awards, so it's more inclusive across our region. The conference, hopefully, will now be an annual event every October, and we're really hoping that we can build momentum on that every year as well. So yeah, we've got some really exciting things coming up. And I just feel like there's some exciting things bubbling for the regional networks across the UK. I think the connectivity that we have between each other, the way we work together, the abundance of advice out there for each other, and the tap on the back and the hug and the help and support is there. And I think as long as we communicate with each other and share, we'll always be successful for the people that we are doing this for. And I think that's really important.
Thank you, Dan. That was really, really wonderful. And I know that there will be a lot of people out there who will have taken a great deal of inspiration. So thank you for everything that you're doing for the profession. And it's been a real pleasure.